So today we're going to do some pansies. They're looking particularly beautiful in the garden at the moment. So I want to introduce you to a selection of 7 different designs that have at random occurred from mixing and matching from some seeds that we sowed a few years ago, and they're all just kind of cross-hybridized, and this is what we have. So when it comes to painting the pansies, sometimes I kind of run short of ideas for how to colour them, and so it's nice to have a few to refer to. So this one's just very, very dark velvety purple with a lovely yellow centre. This one, on the other hand, looks as if it's a cross between one of these pale yellow ones and maybe this one. So it's come out kind of diluted, but they're so pretty. And they sit there in the garden bobbing their little heads. I was going to do clematis today, but then I saw these little chaps and I thought, no, I think we'll have a pansy afternoon. It's been a bit of a stressful day today, one way and another. So I think it would be nice to relax and just paint some of these. Looking at the shapes of their leaves, they vary as well. Some of them are this typical pansy shape, a sort of elongated oval with, I don't know what you'd call those, but sort of scalloped kind of thing. And these ones are much longer and more pointed and have a different type of scallop on there as well. So we can practically make the leaves the shape that we want because they're all good. So I'm just going to pop those in some water so they can stand there and be my models for the afternoon. And I'm going to do a little kind of rambling sketch. Then I'm going to, I think I might do it I might pen and ink it and then colour it in with watercolour, with probably a little bit of watercolour pencil. Oh yes, and these are growing beside them as well. We've got some chives which were absolutely fantastically bright purple earlier on, but they're starting to go over now. But they're so lovely, aren't they? Isn't that so pretty? So we might put in a couple of those as to give a little bit of height, to our composition. There we are, there's a petal, somebody's lost a petal. So this is my sketch so far. I was sitting looking towards a row of trees that we have. First of all, I drew a rock because just at the edge here, these are in a kind of rockery. So I drew a rock, but I got the shape wrong. That would be much better, what I've done there now. So we'll probably put that in. And behind the rock, there are some fir trees. So I just sketched that in. And then I've just got a ramble of poppies here, maybe another rock from the rockery here. And then the chives were behind there. So just a little kind of a little nook in the garden. So that's my sketch. And oh yes, I should just quickly look at the colours while I've got you here and paying attention. The colours we're going to use today will be this yellow, which is, that would be, for most people's palettes, that would be cadmium yellow. I think this one's Chevening yellow, but that's the same thing, just by a different name. Then we've got cobalt blue. Those two together will make green. And so will this yellow, which we'll also use together with the blue. That's Quinacridone Gold. And then we have Quinacridone Purple, which is this colour. And we can mix up several different shades of mauve by using the blue and the purple to give us the colours of the poppies. And so first of all, I'm going to do my sketch and I'll show you how I draw poppies, just in case anyone doesn't know. I'm just wondering whether to... No, I think I'll go for a piece of stretched paper for this. So excuse me 1 second while I just rustle around a little bit here. Rustling around, not as in Russell Brand, but as in rustle around. in my paper stash. Here we go. I always keep a few boards with paper ready stretched on it, so that when I start painting I haven't got the excuse then of saying, oh, I haven't got any paper, I need to stretch the paper, I have to do it tomorrow, and all that kind of rubbish. So yeah, so I've always got paper stretched, always got a notebook, always got a piece of paper around me somewhere, and a pencil. So let's get started. I'll just move that out of the way. Move this up here. Okay. And these can move away a little bit too, I think. Yeah, there we are. A little bit of video at the beginning of the video, a little bit of film or whatever of the Pansies. So if you need a live reference, you can go there for that. So, okay. Now, the poppy, the pansy, the way of drawing a pansy is to put two little brackets back to back like that, and that gives you a starting point for the bottom petal, and then you've got the two petals coming out and then two more at the back, and then your design is going to come out from this center point here, and some of them have got lots of lines down the bottom like that, and a few coming out here, and nothing on the back. That's the general way of it. Some of them have only got, where is that plain one? That one, this one here is all one colour with just the centre in yellow. So, but this is the basic shape. Sometimes they're a little bit more elongated, so you can vary the shape a bit. But generally, it's a good way to draw them, to start with the centre like that, and then the bottom petal is almost like a kind of upside down heart. And then you've got these two petals coming out there. And then some people think there's only one at the back, but there aren't, there are two. So like that. And then you've got your colour in the centre. And sometimes there's colour around the outside edge here. And so this one is purple around the outside edge, purple in the middle, and the same here. So this one you could paint by wetting the whole thing and then taking some purple, and you can just dab it on the outside edge like that and let it run, and then all the way around here as well. And that bleeds really nicely. And then you pop it into the back like that. And then I think it's probably sensible to let that dry, and then you can drop, or you could probably try it. Should we try it and see what happens? I mean, I think you probably could let it dry, but you probably could do it like this too. So just drop in the purple in them, these three. Now, we'll see what happens with that, because it might run too much. But it doesn't matter, because we can always lift some of the colour out. See, if I put too much colour in there like that, you can lift it out, use a bit of blue roll to lift out some of it. And then let that dry. And depending on your paper, if you've got really nice paper, chances are that will dry and look really pretty. So we'll just let that do its thing. And the other thing you can do, of course, is you could use a watercolour pencil and just draw some lines like that. And you could go around the outside edge also a little bit like that. And you could emphasize the shadow on the back petal there, like that. And then in the center, you could do all of this or none of it. And then in the very middle, we've got the yellow. So we could come in with a little bit of quite strongly thick, hardly any water, and just drop some yellow down here. And then I would be inclined to sit back and let that dry and see. And then I've drawn a little one behind there, and I think I'm just going to make that one yellow. And I might put a little bit of mauve in the middle. That might have been a bit too soon. It might be a bit too wet, but we'll see. It might be okay. Just lift out some of that. Yeah. I think best thing to do is to start again with that one. We just do that and pick up the yellow again. Put that in. That was just too much water. There we are. Okay, so after having done that, I'm going to go ahead and do the sketch, the full sketch, and I'll come back in a moment when I've done that, and we'll carry on with the painting. So I've got my little pencil sketch here, and now I'm going to come in with my Staedtler pigment liner. I'm going to use a 0.2mm nib size for this. It's a brand new one. I just bought a new set. There's a link in the description below the video to all the places where you can buy these. Well, not all of the places, but where I got mine from. So now I'm going to start off. I'm going to do the line for the pansies, which for some reason I seem to be almost compelled to call poppies. It's like tomatoes and strawberries. I get them muddled up. Isn't that ridiculous? Just because they're both sort of on the red side. So I think when I do this, I think the best thing to do is not to think about it too much, but just to let your mind wander a little bit and let the pencil or the pen wander a little bit so that you have an uneven line. I like a broken line with my pen and ink sketching. It's up to you. Some people like to have a nice solid definite line, but I prefer mine to look a little bit more tentative, relaxed, or messy, I suppose some people would say. Some people like to say that things that aren't tidy are messy. That's okay. So yeah, that's what I do. I tend to do it broken lines, and I suppose that's the way I was taught. I don't know. I don't really remember. The cat is making a noise. I don't know what the heck's the matter. What's the matter with you? I don't know. I haven't got any. It's not even dinner time, is it? Could you shut up, please? I'll just rub myself against your legs if that's okay. If he jumps up here and lands up... Thank you. And I have a cat on my back. Well, it's just as well I go for uneven lines, isn't it? Because, yeah. Okay, we'll pop a little bud in here. Oriel is on special privilege time. He's in the studio with me, and that's not normal, but he was making such a hell of a fuss in the house about wanting to be let out. But the problem is the weather's a bit iffy and it keeps raining, and he's a house cat. You see, he's not allowed to ramble. It's too dangerous out there nowadays with this and that. We've lost cats over the years, too many of them to the road mostly, but you never know with cats. So even though you're allowed to let your cats out here, not like we used to live in Calgary, and there I was absolutely amazed when I discovered that cats weren't allowed out. You had to keep them in your garden or a house. I mean, they had to be either fenced in or had to stay inside the house. Because I'd come from England and never heard of such a thing. But now I actually agree with that. I mean, I didn't disagree with it then. When I found out the reasons why, I started to volunteer actually for the Calgary Humane Society and tried to do my bit for the pushty cats, rehoming the kittens and everything. There's just way too many of them over there. So I'm just making my way at the moment through this. Hello. Can't see. Can't see, Oriole. I really can't see now. Come on. Down you get. Go on. That's a good boy. Oriole came from Spain. He was a rescue kitten that we adopted down when we were, before the pandemic. We used to spend our winters in Spain, which was nice. Not anymore, we won't. I shan't be doing that again in a hurry. But when we were down there, obviously not 2020, that was the year that never happened. Must have been, the year before. No, the year before that. I think we've had him 3 years now. Yes, the year before that. And we always take our dogs with us, but we left our cats with the house sitters. We had 3 at the time. No, we didn't. What did we have? 1, 2, 1. We left our cat with the house sitters. And when we got to Spain, I missed the cat. So I had to go and get one, so we adopted another one. No, we had 2. Of course we had 2. What am I talking about? We had 3. We had 2 Siamese and a Moggy, which I left them behind, and I wasn't happy about that. So we didn't do that again. So the next year we drove down to Spain with 3 dogs and 3 cats. That was interesting. Right, so I'm just coming in now and drawing the stems and the leaves for the chives. And I'm not going to draw the chive flowers in ink because they're too fluffy. I might put some ink on them at the end, but I will do the stems, I think. And 1 or 2 of the leaves. And then I've kind of indicated a couple of trees behind there. So I may or may not do that. We'll see. So there we are. And so let me think now, how are we going to do this? I think I'll ignore the background for the time being, and I will come in with some lilac for the chives. Now the chives are not as intense as they were, but they're quite pink on the pink side, aren't they? Fairly pinkish. So we'll drop some colour in, and I know that they aren't just blobs like that, but if we put the blobs in, then once that's in, we can come back and put some spiky bits, some little petals. The most important thing at this point is the arrangement. Try not to get them in a straight line, too much of a straight line, a little bit of a curvy line there. And then over here, we'll put these ones just a little tiny bit smaller because they're a little bit further away and a little bit paler for the same reason. There we are, that will do for that. And maybe we'll just indicate the green of the stems, which it's a little bit on the blue side, the green for the chives. And just roughly to start with. Okay, and then maybe just drop in a little bit more blue mauve into the chives. Let that sit for a bit, and in the meantime we'll paint another poppy, I think. I'll tell you what I think I might do, since I've got so many of them. I think I might put the yellow centres in, because they all have, I think, a yellow centre of some sort, shape or description. So because they all have that, we'll go through and indicate the centres like this. You don't have to do it in the same order as me, of course. You don't have to do it in pen and ink if you don't want to. It looks nice either way. And I think what I'm going to do at this point, though, having done that, is wait for that to dry, and then I'm going to rub out all the pencil lines, because 2 sets of lines is just a little bit too much. So I'll turn you off for a sec. I'll be back in a tick. Don't go away. Okay, so that's that cleared up, and so now I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to change my mind. I've taken away the trees, and because they're not terribly interesting, and I'm going to just pop in a couple of living creatures. That is to say, some butterflies, maybe a bee. The bees love the chives. The bumblebees and the honeybees, they all love the chives. So we'll put one of those in. Maybe we'll put another one in up here coming towards us head on. Just for fun. Okay, now I really ought to get on with some of these pansies, hadn't I? Different ways of doing them. You can, once you've got the, the outlines in, you might find that you feel a lot more confident about just popping in the paint. And I know I do. That's the one really huge advantage of line and wash, I think. I don't really know quite why that works, but once I've got the line in, I feel I can be more free with the colour of the flower or the leaf or whatever it is. And you might find the same. I like to mix the colours of my leaves and to drop in, say, Quinacridone Gold and a little bit of cobalt blue and let that mix on the paper rather than trying to literally control exactly what happens. And sometimes I even think that the colour of the leaves is much more exciting than the flowers. I don't know. Certainly up there in good competition. And I really like the mixture of Quinacridone Gold and cobalt blue. I think it makes super colours. And if you pick 2 colours up on your brush, like I am, and as long as you don't pick up too much, and you don't mix it thoroughly, then when you press down onto the paper, you get these super duper combinations of green and gold that are just spectacular. And then we need to just put in the stems, and I think I might be inclined to make the stems a little bit darker than the leaves, perhaps. Oriole sitting in his bed by the window. And then, so that you get a unified effect, you don't want to only have a colour like these greens in one part of the painting. So you're going to want to bring some of that in over here, where the chives are. So if you just, you've put a little bit of sage green in the background there, and so you're just going to bring in a little bit more slightly darker tones. There we are. I feel as if there ought to be a leaf in there, so I'm just going to pop something in, pretend that that's overlapping like that. A little bit more in here maybe. There's one, I spotted that. And let's make that a bit darker. And that. Okay, so now for a few more pansies. I'm going to soften this line here a little bit. Let's have another yellow one, shall we? Let's have a yellow one here. And then we can do the lines in the middle. We can do that with watercolour pencil. And this one I'm going to do in a pale pink, pinkish. I'm not going to introduce any more colours into this. I'm just going to stick with these ones. For the sake of unity. And then maybe we'll have a darker yellow one, a little bit. Pick up a bit of the Quinacridone Gold and pop that in over here. Maybe we'll have one over here in that colour too. And this one probably could take a smidgen of darker yellow along with the mauve. Maybe that one. I think I want to warm up that yellow. Oh, I have a sudden urge to paint the bee. Let's put his yellow in up here. And let's butterfly yellow. Let's do all of them in yellow, or both of them rather. There we are. Might do his legs with the pen. And we'll just drag some of the colour from his body up into the wings, which I think is how it happens anyway, isn't it? And let's use some watercolour pencil just to do the body. Just a little line like that is enough for this. Doesn't need to be more, does it? And we will give this bee up here a little head and a little body like that. And then a little wing like that. Okay, and so back to the flowers. Let's put a blue one in here. And I think I'm going to just dab in a bit of mauve to that. And let's put a mauve one in here. And another one in purple over this way. Just basically filling them in now. Okay. And if this is dry, yes it is, I'm going to revisit the chives and just try to not put my hand, and just give a bit of an indication like that. I'm not going to get anywhere close to botanically correct here, but just a bit of an indication. And really not much over here because these ones are further away. But that will run and bleed into itself a little bit, so it'll look softer in a minute. And I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back in and see what needs else to be done. Okay, so there's more or less the final painting. I've rubbed out all the pencil lines that I could get rid of. If they go underneath the paint, you can't pretty much take them out, but I quite like having some of them showing. But wherever the paint hasn't gone, then you can usually rub them out, but just be careful that it's all nice and dry before you try to do that, otherwise you might get a nasty smudge. I've got a lovely, beautiful grey-green watercolour pencil here, Albrecht Dürer, and I keep trying to find places where I can use this because I just love the colour so much. It's such a lovely soft green. So I'm just going to put a few more strokes in the background here to emphasise the existence of the chive leaves. And maybe I might just put, using the same pencil but a different colour, just a few dark petals in here. I'm not going to go crazy and do too much. I like my paintings, personally, I like them to be fairly minimal. I have added in the centre of each of the pansies, I've added a little dab of Quinacridone Gold just to emphasise the depth of the centre there. So we used cadmium yellow first and then that one I hadn't done, so I'll just do that, just a little tiny dab like that. And then we've got our butterflies up here. And just put a little tiny bit more paint on there just for the heck of it, because why not? There we are. The bee looks fine, doesn't need any more work. This one looks like he's on a mission. And yeah, so there we are. That's the final painting. Hope you enjoyed that little visit with my pansies and my cat, who is now asleep in a seed tray by the patio door. so he's fine. And so I'll let you go, and I'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget to go to our website and sign up there. And if you make an account there, which costs you nothing, you can download all the sketches for all the paintings that we've done since we started this channel. Pretty much all of them are up there. And soon, if you have an account, you'll be getting a regular newsletter from us once a week or so, reminding you of what's up, what's on, and what's out, and what's available. So you wouldn't want to miss that, would you? So I'll say bye for now, everybody. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.